Absolutely. I agree with you. This is the first time a book that I recently published, I used draft to digital so that it could go wide. And the process was all right as far as like draft to digital is concerned. I don't like that they don't take PDFs. I like to operate with PDFs, but whatever. And what was I going to say? So I'm in that author group, and the admin actually doubled down on his tone deafness to, and I might get kicked out for this if they ever find out, but he doubled down on his tone deafness to what other authors were saying. Now, I hate to bring this up because I can hear in my head, like, why do you make it about race? Let me qualify that by saying, until I was 19, honestly, really, until Trayvon Martin in 2012, I kind of didn't see things with race. Not really. I mean, there was the Obama um, thing of 2008, how he was undercounted, and so his grassroots took off, and I got to see some of the ugliness of people, but I wasn't like super heavy on social at the time. So in a way, I was kind of like insulated from the ignorance of people and their mental health of their mental illness of racism, which there is no cure. Not no medical one anyway. It's a long process of self and introspection and stopping the bells of cognitive dissonance. But anyway, to continue, um, so he doubled down and he was talking about like, oh, Amazon readership went up and whatever. Meanwhile, there are those of us saying we haven't had a sale, not on Amazon, since like February 27th. Like literally, my last sale. How is my last sale? Was February 27th, exactly that day. And there were other authors who write in the romance genre, but more specifically, more niched. In other words, more impacted romance genre because men have like made so much money off of women with these. You sometimes you can tell what the stories are that they've written because it's like, really, that's supposed to be romantic. But anyway, meanwhile, a woman will write, "He washed the dishes, and I didn't have to say anything." Ooh, girl, drop the panties. Anyway, um, what was I saying? Yeah, so he doubled down on it, and he was like, last year when they did something, sales still. In fact, we're up more in sales now than we were at the same period last year. And it was like, I responded, it's not 2024. We're not in a period of denial anymore. Um, and we're in a period of real time consequence and more pending consequences. And so he tried to mansplain me, so I just left that alone. But there were quite a few people who are still reacting to my comment because he turned off the comments not too long after I wrote that. Um, but anyway, so other people are like, I haven't had sales either. And he's like, oh, it's your fault, basically. He's like, oh, it's because some big major book came out or dropped or whatever. And we're like, no, I haven't had sales either, you know? And so people aren't, this is like a microcosm. Like, this is a really good sample size of the individuality of this country in the respects that they, you know, do not see other people. They will deliberately ignore other people's words, other people's pains, other people, because for instance, I know I'm not the only one. But I've been saying prices are way too high. We're in a recession. And they're like, no, we're not. The stocks are doing fine. NASDAQ, da 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 da. Right? And I've been saying this since like 2021 going into 2022. I'm like, y'all, we're in a recession. Like rent's too high. You're having to get 3 people in one house, like 3 families in a house to afford it. Other people are renting out literally RVs so that they would have some place to stay. The extended stays and all that were over $3,000 a month. And then food prices were like 3 to 4 times what they were. And the shelters lines were long. And I know this because I was going through a very, 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 very difficult financial time since 2022. So, and I knew it wasn't just me, like, oh, look at me, personal problem. I knew it was bigger than me. And I'm like, we're in a recession. And they're like, no, stocks are great. And it's like, the majority of people can't do stocks. They don't have that kind of discretionary income. Child, they trying to get medical insurance, And so I realized like how out of touch, there's like a very divisive line in the income statuses of this country. And here we're looking at this author group, and like one lady, this is a particular lady, she even posted hers and was like, look, I haven't had any specific drop. And it's interesting because she didn't do well at all in February because we had already started our thing. She had a couple spikes here or there, and then like she had a spike at the beginning of this month, and now she's going down. I haven't seen any difference. Yeah, we taper off. I don't know. It's funny. And it's like, what genre are you in? If you're in high crime, if you're in political drama, you might be doing fine. But there are people who like really need to escape. But right now, it's not a collective escape, meaning like, if a hurricane hits, it hits the whole city. This time, let me rephrase that. It's not a community escape. Oh, no, I don't know which word I want to use because I'm seeing them differently. And I'm interchanging them, but they're not supposed to be. One is collective, one is community. I don't know which one I'm supposed to be using. But okay, so let's say it's not a collective one for, say, a whole county or something. But it's more of a community one for, say, LGBTQ plus or my people or, etc. And so we, especially the 92%ers, we feel very strongly about these things. And so we are either boycotting or we're just erased it. So it's not even a boycott anymore. It's like it doesn't even exist. Or we just do it very, very minimally because there are cases where you can't boycott, entirely. I'm saying all this to say that yes, it is time for responsible people. Like I have my foot in several different industries. I think last week or the week before, I called out creators in saying, if you are silent, you are tone deaf. And people will remember that you didn't speak up. I'm going to say that here for the author arena too, because I have seen discussions where people are checking out your reposts to see what you're doing, what you really believe in. And they are checking to see if you're even speaking up. And that also goes for entrepreneurs. If you're not saying something, I'm not saying make it your whole platform, but if you're not saying something, people will remember. And I don't mean be performative. I mean be convicted. And to the people who did vote for this, not this exactly, but you voted for some form of people being hurt because you were okay with the plans that he did actually say. Never mind that these are the plans that were actually written. But if you were okay with that, it's okay to say I made a mistake. It really is. In fact, that's what a lot of us are waiting for. We're waiting for you to acknowledge your mistake and then to really internalize that and ask yourself, why were you okay with what you knew was going to happen? Because this is about the same. Anyway, I think so.